One quote can change a life, and our next guest believes just that because it happened to her. Hi, I'm Nick Nanton, and welcome back to Times Square Today. And I've got my good friend Pratima Aravabumi here to tell us all about how a quote can change your life. Tell us about it.
It is wonderful that you ask me such questions, Nick. But what I actually started Craft Stitch Design 2 years ago, really, and I say that the quote can change your life because that's what happened to me. A few years ago when I was struggling with depression and I was in a very bad arranged marriage and I was feeling extremely helpless, at this point I decided to kind of end my life, and that's kind of where I was going with it without even my knowledge. And lucky for me, I happened to glance at my kitchen wall and I saw this quote called "The darkest hour is before dawn." And that one quote kind of changed my life. It was a very different feeling. It completely changed the conversation in my head. I no longer felt helpless. It was almost so surreal that a bunch of words can do something so simple, can change your entire life. But it changed, and I think it had a mindset change in my head, and that's what happened. And I left the marriage and took control of my life, and here we are.
Good for you. Now, okay, so this quote, obviously, it's a great quote, and it was there for you when you needed it. So what happened next? What made you decide to start thinking about how you might use other people's quotes to help others?
That happened many years ago, probably like 6, 7 years ago. But after that, I went on to work in corporate, and I worked for many years. I was there. I was happy. I was working with many Fortune 500 companies, including Apple. It was my dream job, but I did not like the 9 to 5 routine. I was just kind of, what can I say? I didn't want to work for someone else. So I decided that at that point I started doing a lot of soul searching as to, what do I do at this point? And Craft Street Design was what came to me because I went back to the moment of my life where it had changed my life, and I figured it'll help other people as well. And then there's a lot of research that backs it. Subconsciously, words change how you feel, and that's when I decided to start Craft Street Design.
I love it. Now tell us what Craft Street Design does exactly.
To explain that, I've taken you on a little journey, Nick, but what we really do is all about, for example, imagine a day where you were struggling, you were trying to do everything right, you're hoping that it's all going to work out, but it's just one of those days where nothing is working for you no matter what you do. And at this point, I've been there many times, and at that point you start to wonder and start to question yourself so many times, and your self-confidence dwindles, you go into this downward spiral. So I would say that you have to change how you feel in that moment, but it's impossible. It's almost impossible to change how you feel because you're stuck in that situation and you don't have a perspective to think differently about anything else. So here's what I would suggest everybody to do, whoever is watching at this point, to go to craftstreetdesign.com and pick any quote that speaks to you and read it out loud. And when you read it out loud, I want you to notice how you feel before you read it and then after you read it. You will clearly notice that your energy levels have changed. There are different positive feelings, however slight it is there. And as I said, there's a lot of research that it's backed by it. So it's the best way to change your mood instantly and change how you feel. And that's the key to your success and to accomplish whatever it is that you want. So that's what we do at Craft Street Design. We design word gifts that encourage and inspire you.
I absolutely love it. Now, one thing I am intrigued by, so you've been on this journey. If you could go back to the day you started going this journey or back in your life and tell yourself one thing, what would that be?
That's an interesting question, but I think as entrepreneurs, when I was an entrepreneur or when I started out, it was very excited about starting new products, releasing new products, doing all these new features to existing products. But at the end of the day, I think I forget that what's working, you don't need to change it. You do not need to reinvent the wheel. And it's a hard path to stick to, especially having the mentality of a startup entrepreneur. It's hard to kind of stick to the path that's working. So I would say, just don't reinvent what's working.
Great advice. I see that in the most sophisticated businesses all the way down. Something works so great, we stop doing it, right? And so that's great advice. All right, now, I know people are going to want to check it out, so give us the website one more time.
The website is craftstreetdesign.com, but the best way to kind of get a feel for what we do and how to, get inspired for the next 30 days, you can download 30 free wallpapers and printables that can inspire you for the next 30 days at bit.ly/30fabquotesfree.
30 Fab Quotes free. Well,
Yep.
Pratima, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, we'll be right back on Times Square today.